We all have that one family or friend member who just thrives off of drama. You know, the type who can take the smallest things and make a huge scene. They want to make everything about them, and they are always the victim. But what if I told you this was something more than just somebody being extra? Want to learn more? You're at the right place. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Purcell Shannon. I'm a licensed professional counselor, certified clinical trauma professional, and I have over 20 years in the field of mental health. I'm here to share some information with you. And the reason why I'm starting with this particular disorder is a result of the recent fiasco with Tamar Braxton. If you have some time, I did an introductory video a few days ago before actually launching this channel, because it was just really on my heart and on my mind to talk about that, because it was really like watching a brush fire just take over an entire hilltop. And this is what those personality types do. This is what they're very good at. I call them your emotional arsonists. They start the fire, they light the flame, they strike the match, they throw it onto embers and blow on it and watch that shit just explode. That's what they do. And that's what happened with the situation with Tamar Braxton and Funky Dineva. But I'm not going to talk about that so much today. I'm talking about the Tamar in your family and what you might be displaying. As I mentioned in that video a few days ago, I am in no ways diagnosing this woman. I don't know, her medical history, her psychiatric history, but I am very observant, and being in the field, I've seen these behaviors in clients before. I've treated clients with these behavior or personality types before. And so I want to share this with my family, my kinfolk. So let's get into this, right? Histrionic personality disorders. These are your attention seekers. These are the folks that they're not satisfied unless the situation turns on them. Attention is turned on them. Good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter. Any attention is good. These people act like they have a camera on them at all times. It's like they're in their own TV show. And of course, we know Tamar is in the reality world. But people who behave like her, they actually appear as if they believe that they are a celebrity in their own right, right? So how does this start? So as I stated in that video a few days ago, this is something that started when the person was very young, primary age, even as young as before they could even talk. What does that look like? What does a child who is experiencing this, what might that look like? Well, I can tell you just some historical facts. We're dealing with in the Black diaspora, particularly African Americans, right? We know a large portion of us who live in urban communities, even in rural communities. There may be a strong presence of a single parent home, mostly, the mother being the head of the household. And so the mother having to work a lot, unable to attend to the child's emotional needs, really in a wholesome way as much as they would like to. Because what we're not going to do is, villainize parents for working when they don't have a choice but to work. So, in other words, a result oftentimes of survival behaviors, right? Working 2 and 3 jobs, and having children and not having the support to take care of them. And so what happens? The child is sometimes has to grow up very quickly, or is feels neglected, sometimes just is outright neglected. And what happens as they develop? Well, they start to do attention seeking behaviors. And this comes from learning, right? When a baby cries, the baby cries and yells long enough, somebody's going to come and see what's wrong with that baby. I remember back in the day when I had my first child, I remember my grandmother telling me, let the baby cry. You can't run to the baby every time the baby cries and you'll spoil them. And, these are old beliefs that we carry from generation. And there was a reason that, those mothers and fathers had to develop those sort of survival skills, right? Because they experienced some of the harshest conditions, and they had to work and they had to go out in the fields. And so you really couldn't, don't bond with that child in a way, because you could be taken away or the child could be taken away from you. Like this comes from, slavery. And so we have to evolve out of that thinking. And I think, for a large part we have as we've moved on. But some of those concepts still are very much in our culture. But when we're talking about these personality disorders, particularly histrionic, so what happens to trigger? Well, a child that is not getting any attention, who maybe feels is being ignored or is ignored, has an event. And the event garners attention. And this event could be, I don't know, maybe they hurt themselves, or maybe they get an award. It's who knows? But it's an event that garners a lot of attention and care. And that child associates, these big events or a crisis with that is a caveat to them getting attention. Like, this is the triggering factor, this right here. Oh, okay. So if this happens, people rush in, people take care of me, I get attention, mom stays home, mom may even take off from work, like, oh my goodness, everybody's coming to see about me. And so this, fills up that void that was there in the past. And sometimes positive is if the child gets into sports and they become an all-star and everybody's talking about them, right? Of course, some positive things can come from that. You can get a scholarship, you can go to college, all of the good things that come with it. And so it can be, like this event could lead to a positive response, but when it leads to a negative response, where the child starts to see this as and use these events as tools to garner attention, to seek validation, to become in that moment important enough. As they grow up and become adults, and there's no healthy outlet for that, eventually you start to see this. even before adulthood. You'll start to see this in their adolescent years as teenagers. Um, you know, girls and boys who constantly stay in the middle of things. Like they can't seem to get along with anybody. Always got a problem with some other student. And it's never them. It's always they jealous of me, or he mad because I took his girl. And I want to say this, we don't talk about this in boys, but it exists. This is more prevalent in females, though. I will definitely say that it's females are mostly diagnosed with this, other than men. Um, this behavior, histrionic personality disorder, is a close kin to borderline personality disorder, with some very distinct differences, though, but there are some overlaps. So let me be clear about that. And they can co-occur, so you can get them together. But getting back to this personality, this is just to give you some, something to connect to. A child who just cannot get along with anyone. They don't keep friends. They're very extremely gossipy, very gossipy. And here's the big one. They are convincing liars. Woo! Ooh, honey, they can lie. They can lie. Because manipulation is how, they are garnering attention, right? The first time it happened, it was a real situation. So now, moving forward, I have to create these opportunities for me to feel nurtured and feel cared for. So they will manipulate. They will lie. They will play dumb. They will bend, twist, curve, hula hoop, jump rope, the truth, as much as they possibly can. And their goal is to convince you that they're telling the God's honest truth. I swear on everything. Lying their asses off. Okay? So, early detection, you got a child that just can't get along with nobody. Okay? So, what does it look like, right? I just gave you a demonstration. Exaggerated behavior. People with HPD, not HPV, but HPD, they crave attention. And they will often be super dramatic. They can be extremely destructive. These are the folks that wait until, you're having an important event, you're having achieving a milestone. They will pull all kind of stuff to turn the attention onto themselves. So they are also quick to shift from, I love you, to, oh, you don't care about me. The minute you confront them with their behavior, then they become a professional victim. And when I tell you professional victim, all of it, the tears, the nobody cares about me, the I try my best, and I'm doing whatever I can, I'm doing my best, and I don't get credit for what I do, and and then they they go back into history. Well, you were always the favorite, or it's not my fault this, or it's not my fault that, or mom and dad cared more about you, and the list goes on. And they do this to disarm you, right? You're no longer talking about their behavior. Now it's you're trying to defend against what they said. Like, no, that's not true. That's not fair. Why do you say that? You forgot all about what they done. We ain't even talking about that no more. It's now you the problem. This is what they do constantly. It's learned behavior. It's they use guilt, they use charm, and they use manipulation. Those are like their three primary tools to disarm you, to get what they want, to skirt accountability. And so, what do you do about this? What do you do about the Tamars in your family? What do you do about people who behave this way and treat you this way? Because they only grow. What they have is, I call it like it's the monster. They can only set the fire if you are the fuel. If you are the fuel. So one of the things that is really, really good in combating their behavior, right, is setting boundaries, is don't play the game. Don't feed into it. Don't engage. When they come with their drama, remain neutral. Be calm. Yeah, wow. I guess that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. So what are you going to do about that? Always put it back in their court. Put the ball back in the court. Put their problems back on them. Don't let them burden you with their problems, with their life issues. And don't lend these people money. Don't ever lend these people money. Oh my God. Just consider it gone. Okay? Consider you just donated to who they are. That's your charity. Because they're not paying you back. They're not paying you back. Oh my God. I thought I could. This happened. Don't lend these people money. They either going to sob story you to death, or they're going to cuss you out when you ask for it back. You knew I was going through a hard time. You shouldn't have gave it to me anyway. Oh, look. Some of these lessons I learned myself. Not with the money thing. Because I just don't do that. Unless, you have to be someone I really, really care about. And, I make a decision when I loan that money that this may possibly be a donation. Okay. If I'm okay with it being a donation, then okay, that's what we're doing. But set your boundaries, right? Don't allow the drama to, infiltrate your life. Set your boundaries. Have some real rules about how you're going to engage with this individual. And you make it very clear. Now, I don't mean making declarations. Please don't do that. That's the worst thing that you can do. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to tell you right, I'm done letting people use me and abuse me. I'm done. I ain't got nothing. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Because you draw that energy to you when you do that. All that you say you're not going to do, in less than 30 days, you're going to be doing that and some more. Because you're going to draw that attention to you. This person is a manipulator. You know that they are liars. You know that they do seek and destroy missions where they're out for information to either use it against you or use it for themselves. So stop telling them your business. Do not tell them your business. They are very untrustworthy. They are very untrustworthy. And if they don't tell it right away, they will wait until y'all have the least any little disagreement. They're going to tell all your business. Tell all your business. Because now, right, Oh, I see why you did her the way you did her, because she ain't no good anyway. And let me tell you, and she said this about you. So they want to, get people on their side, turn people against you. Very destructive. Because when they feel like you are breaking ties with them and they no longer can control you with their emotions, oh, honey, they are out to get you. They want to make sure nobody likes your ass anymore, because they don't like you now. They know you don't hold them accountable. Oh, that's not good. So I'm going to make sure nobody likes you. So don't tell these people your business. Set your boundaries. And that can be anything from, this is what I'm willing to discuss. This is how I'm going to engage with you. And when you get to talking this, number one, I don't loan money. I can point you in the direction of like what they call it, payday loan. I can give you some advice. Go to your credit union. I think Navy Federal's just giving money away to anybody. Go to Navy Federal. Whatever. What's the one on Ricky Smiley's show where you call in and they'll approve you for $500 in 15 minutes? Send them there. Okay? Send them there. But don't loan these people any money. Right? The next thing, don't feed into their attention-seeking behavior. Stay calm. Stay calm. Be super calm. Because the whole idea is to get you engaged, is to drag you into the drama, to get you all turned up. They want to elevate you with them. They want you upset. They will say things to try to get an emotion, and they are looking at you. If you have ever had an interaction with this person, and you see me, like, I blink a lot. Mostly because I have astigmatism. But I have a high blink rate. And it's because I'm engaged. When I'm talking, I'm tuning, I'm present. And so my blink rate is pretty active. When you talk to these people and they are doing their thing, when they are turning on all of their skills, they are so intense. They're, yeah, because you know what she said, and then and you don't even know, girl, guess what? And let me tell you something. And then these people might blink, I don't know, maybe 5 times a minute. They're so locked in on you. There's another personality that does that, but that's for another day. But they're looking at you because they want to see if you're buying into what they're saying, right? They want to pull you in, and they are looking at everything. They're looking at your facial expressions. They're looking at your body language unconsciously. Not that they're, skilled in body language, or they have some sort of background in psychiatry or psychology. None of that. This is something that naturally happens, right? These are survival skills. And so they've adapted this sort of quasi knowledge without even knowing it. So they're honing on you because they want to see if they're convincing you, right? So stay calm. Because if you stay calm, you start to take the wind out of their sails. And sometimes you'll see them getting very frustrated. Never mind. You don't believe anything I say anyway. And they're gone. Good. Bye. See you later. So yeah, just being calm. Sometimes just silently, just looking at them. They don't like that. It's not working, right? They know that what they're doing is not working. So it's like, shit, I got to move on from you. Let me go find somebody else that I can put in this trick bag, because she ain't having it. All right? Keep your perspective, right? Don't allow them to spin you. Just deal with facts. a lot of times what they're saying is just so extraordinary. Like it's, she told me she hated me and I didn't say anything. Who would just come out and say that? Oftentimes, these people start stories from the end, right? They talk about the end result. They don't start from the beginning. Like, they don't tell you that, they went over there and was dressed inappropriate in front of someone's spouse and just started twerking, at the family cookout in front of auntie such and such husband, came to the party with half their booty cheeks out. And then the aunt went off on him, told she was going to kick her ass. No, they come to you and said, Auntie Sharon, girl, she just went off me for no reason, told me she was going to kick my ass. I ain't do nothing to that lady. Whole time, your little nasty hot tail was up there being inappropriate. And that woman had enough of you because you knew better. You was playing around with her husband and she did not appreciate that, and she let you know she was going to whip your ass. That's what happened. Tell the whole story. So they tell the story from the end, right? So keep your perspective. Always remember, you're not getting the whole story from them. So don't rush to judge. Don't rush to say anything. Do not rush to co-sign. Keep your perspective. Do your homework. All right? Again, another thing you can do is encourage healthy expression. Now, it takes a little bit of skill to do this, and you really got to be, a solidly grounded person to do this. And some of the things that, of course, in treatment, right, we do what is called Socratic questioning. And so you kind of, you ask a certain amount of questions. And one of the main questions is like, would someone else see this the same way? What you just described to me. Would another person believe that same thing? What do you think you could have done different? Do you think the person could have been hurt rather than angry, and maybe that's why they, responded the way they responded? So, encouraging a healthy behavior, a healthy response, getting them to try to see things with a healthy perspective. But again, that takes patience, and I'm telling you, when you're dealing with this, folks, it's very easy to lose your patience. So you may or may not be able to do that. In family therapy, we mostly teach a caregiver, parent, how to do this with their child who is displaying this behavior, or if there is a family dynamic where there's an individual that usually is at the center of a lot of the discourses happening in the family. We teach this skill set. Finally, protect your peace. Protect your peace. That is the utmost important thing. Protect your peace. Don't let these people's problems become your problem. Prioritize your well-being. Look, I got my own thing going. Don't let nobody guilt you into submission. They're very good at it. Don't let a parent guilt you into it. Well, you know how she is, and she ain't got nobody, or any family member. She's going through a hard time right now. Shit, everybody is. Donald Trump is the president. We all going through a hard time right now. So, if you find this information helpful, please like and subscribe. And I want to give a big shout out to my subscribers. I was so thrilled. I saw a few people had subscribed already, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. And remember, I want you all to be kind to yourself first, and then please be kind to others. All right, take care.